What's the most toxic insult you've ever heard of? Guess you getting in that car accident was better than going to your art show. My stepmom after I was a back passenger in a car wreck. T-bone from speeding vehicle from right side, and hit from oncoming traffic behind us. I got out, made sure everyone was okay, passed out on pavement from bleeding in thigh from hitting seat so hard, laceration across chest from seatbelt that landed me in a hospital. We were on the way to an art show with my stuff and display in Boston. I was in high school sophomore or senior year and never really did art anymore after that. No one really cared. We had this dirty greaseball plumber on site, a real miserable prick. The only person I have ever seen arrive to work dirtier than he goes home. One morning, he was purposely standing around in our small parking lot in the way. So my coworker comes in hot to one of the parking spots, almost hitting him. When getting out of his car, the plumber starts cussing and yelling at him that he almost ran him over. My coworker looked at him and explained there's no law against running over animals and kept walking. I can't believe they kept you. My paternal grandmother when I wouldn't let her drive alone when she was unable to turn her head at all. Thank heavens I went with her, because she drove onto the curb more than once and I had to keep her from accidentally killing us both on multiple occasions. You're too full of self-hatred to ever be loved. My ex, when I called him out for skipping school. I've been on the receiving end of some real zingers over the years, without any good reason. I hate hugging you cause you're all skin and bones. I love giving hugs to people, it's like a love language. But I have never been too insecure about it since then. It makes me wonder if everybody thinks that way too. It was said in a disgusted manner while she hugged me, almost as if she was trying to avoid me. She is a mean girl, but I hate that I'm now aware that my body is too disgusting to even hug. A guy made a little 5-year-old girl cry by being too loud, which was an accident, and then he didn't apologize to her or to the mother, and that's fine, whatever. But when someone pointed out that he made her daughter cry, his response was she raised a wimpy daughter. Meanwhile the girl was crying by herself in her dark bedroom and had locked the door. Terrible, right? A guy selling CDs in Vegas tried to sell one to my brother. We're both pretty fat for the 200th time that day, and my brother just politely said no thanks and kept walking, and then we heard the guy say, "Oh, maybe you'd like the Jenny Craig." Jenny Craig, from what I understand, is a weight loss diet program. I didn't give the joke because I was like 14 at the time. When I was 10 years old, I needed a new pair of shoes. My father called me a leech. I'm 57 and wish I had disowned him then instead of waiting until I was 53. At least he's got Parkinson's and is suffering now with only my evil stepmother to help him. I would have done anything for a simple, "I love you." They both lost out while filming What About Bob? Richard Dreyfuss said Bill Murray got in his face once and said something along the lines of "Nobody likes you. You are tolerated." I always thought that was cold AF. Putting it in someone's head that everyone around them is just putting up with them to be polite is a pretty cruel thing to do. My own mother bought me a pair of shorts, and when I tried to wear them to a teen church function she screamed at me for being a little Miss Slut who's going to be a single mom with 5 kids by wanting to wear shorts to church. So, that's probably the most memorable and toxic insult I've had directed at me. A couple of years ago, one of my friends came to me to ask for support in finding a job. I supported him without boundaries, and one day, I wanted a small support in my electricity-related work, but there was an argument between us. Suddenly he replied, "Who was with me in my hard days?" Nobody. Got called nearly every slur minus the N-word known to humanity as a 15-year-old by some old antitheist dude over something stupid from both sides on Google+. Even got told the C-word in caps lock. Someone else straight up told him he was being evil. Later on we amended it. Immortals wrote my personal favorite. When the rich woman's fashion accessory dogs caused a disturbance, she apologized for their ill breeding. He answered, "The dogs are perfectly bred. The fault in breeding lies with their owner." Teacher of mine once said to a classmate who kept making the most asinine contributions to the conversation, "You make it really difficult to underestimate you." The guy had no idea what it meant. He thought it was a compliment. One friend was talking about his chemistry degree while we were playing League. He made a bad play and another friend told him he should look up if the college offers refunds after he did something that's stupid in game. My nephew has long curly hair and is going through a top hat wearing phase. He's also a little chunkier. One day at a pool someone driving by saw him and shouted out, "Holy shit, it's Slash. Well, you got fat." I was at a pool in Vegas and wearing a straw cowboy hat with my shirt open. One friend said, "Damn, how can you not get laid with that outfit today?" Other friends said, "Don't worry, he'll show us." In a bar many years ago. Guy giving me the eye. sidled over to him and his mates. He took a step back, looked me up and down and said, "Yeah, you're not that nice close up. You can fuck off now." One of my old classmates was carrying me. I had no shoes on. A man driving down the street rolled his window down and said to my classmate, "How heavy is she?" The guy weighed more than me. "If I had the money for an abortion, I would have aborted you. When I got attacked and stabbed, I wish they would have killed you." My paternal mother, to me when I was a young child. An old coworker once told me, "I feel like you would be psychotic in a relationship." She wasn't trying to be mean, but damn, that one has stuck with me for over 15 years now. This guy killed me on Rust and told me to put my kid to bed. He could hear her in the background. It was like 11 on a school night. He ganked me and then critiqued my parenting. Any that insult their physical appearance, because that's not something anyone can control, and also it insults people with similar physical attributes that aren't even involved. I remember being at Boy Scout summer camp when I was around 14. One of the counselors looked me in the eye and said, "Your mom cuts your hair funny." Totally destroyed me. Not toxic, but honestly just funny. I got told I'm like a tumor. I show up unannounced and everyone cries when they find out I'm here because nobody wants me. An old guy I worked with briefly told me that the best part of you ran down your father's leg. I just stood there and laughed. That was his last day. When I was born, the doctor came out to the waiting room and said to my father, "I'm very sorry. We did everything we could. But he pulled through." While playing CS. A random was talking shit in that. My friend just said, "He doesn't even have a degree, so don't listen to him." About 10 years ago a guy drove past me and he yelled out the window, "Your mustache doesn't suit you." I'm still not over it. Your grandma doesn't think you're handsome. Your dog doesn't actually like you. This is why your kids don't call you. People from Europe don't like to be told they worship American culture, especially when they try to make fun of Americans. Years ago at a Kansas City Royals game I heard a guy yell out, "Your favorite band sucks." Been using it ever since. I was playing VR the other day and the kid told me my dad was gay. Now I gotta figure out which one been lying to me. Crying face. On top of calling me a cunt and calling me kids cunts, I might just have to fucking shoot you right here. Criast. Overheard two girls in a restaurant talking about some guy. One said, "He just makes my tits puke, you know? You're fat, nobody loves you fucking pussy," says it in a digital call. If he said it hurl, he would regret it. Not toxic, but in 7th grade a kid dead ass looked at me and went, "Why is your forehead so big?" Unprovoked. Skull. I worked with a piece of shit who told a lady from the office that he hoped she died of CT cancer. "You're so ugly your mother had to close her eyes and think of other babies while breastfeeding you." You can't kill me in a way that matters. That's because you haven't lived in a way that matters. I'm going to fuck your mom and knock her up so she can have a child that she can actually love. I'm going to smear my toxic masculinity all over your face. Some piece of shit on Twitter. "The only way you would be attractive to me is if I dressed you up in my daughter's clothes." From one drunk man, to another drunk lady. "You look like a dropped Chinese takeaway." "You shouldn't have a receding hairline at 12 directed towards my least fit cousin." One the Brits uses to call someone a urine-stained reptile. That's my favorite. When you tell someone it's okay here, not all of us were meant to be competent. "You should try eating your makeup. Then maybe you'd be beautiful on the inside." You bought a dog because you couldn't make any friends and it killed itself. Any of the insults from the Paris Islands scene from Full Metal Jacket. "I wish we were better strangers." From Shakespeare's As You Like It. "I'm going to fuck your dad and give him a child he'll actually love." Yo dad's so Russian his blood type is vodka and his prostitute is bear. Your mother is a hamster and your father's smells like elderberries. Personally, it's calling others an NPC. Like, come on man. Grow up. The smartest thing that's ever come from your mouth was my dick. You're hot, but you also kinda look like you have Down syndrome. I hope you realize everyone's just putting up with you. I hope you're not a woman, cause that's just devastating. "He's tough to look at" was a pretty heavy one I heard.